pendulum-style swinging evasion. Wing Chun's hand-seeking stance. Powerful rear hand punch. The two-character front stance. To stabilize the body. Tyson's first punch immediately struck IP Man with unparalleled force. The force of the punch was like a train colliding head-on. It forced IP Man to immediately use the two-character front stance to stabilize himself. True to his experience, IP Man chose to block the punch rather than evade it. This was actually a way to test the power and direction of his opponent's punch, allowing him to better assess his strategy for the next move. IP Man raised the hand-seeking stance, preparing for the fight. The pendulum-style swinging evasion closed in again. The pendulum sway is a movement where the hips serve as the axis, shifting side to side while the upper body moves naturally with it. It resembles a pendulum and can be used for evasion as well as for defensive counterattacks. Continuous left and right jabs to probe the defense. Right hand deflecting the attack. Left hook punch. Cross-block defense. At this moment, IP Man's expression appeared calm, but inside, a storm was already raging. He never expected that his powerful kick would be easily blocked by his opponent, and even more surprisingly, it was forcefully deflected. The disparity in strength was something he had never encountered in his life. Palm strike followed by a whip-like strike. Horizontal hook punch to the abdomen. A palm strike to block, followed by a backward kick, sending him onto the table. When IP Man stepped onto the table, it was a move made out of necessity, with no other option left. At the same time, it was a natural response. Once on the table, he immediately unleashed the 8 kicks of Wing Chun. Sweeping kick. Lifting kick. Side stretch kick. Stamping kick. A Wing Chun proverb says, "Kick the main, not the secondary. Kick high, not low. Strike under the skirt, with no trace left behind." This means that when using Wing Chun techniques, every kick should target the opponent's vital areas and joints. That's why we see IP Man targeting the key points of his opponent. The first kick sweeps the back of the head. The second lifts toward the forehead. The third strikes the throat. And the fourth stamps at the crown of the head. And the strike under the skirt refers to Wing Chun being created for women. Since women in ancient times wore skirts, making high kicks difficult, Wing Chun footwork is also known as skirt kicks. When executing a kick, the shoulders remain still. The force is generated from the small power, and the movement is subtle with no warning. This allows for a powerful strike when the opponent is completely unprepared. However, we also notice that IP Man uses some high kicks in other battles. This is because Lung Bik made innovations to traditional Wing Chun, which included the use of high kicks. IP Man, during his time studying in Hong Kong, also received guidance from Lung Bik. Back to the fight, as IP Man launched his 5th kick, Tyson grabbed him. A powerful punch to the ribs, palm block, with arm trapping. IP Man attempted to turn and throw Tyson, but Tyson threw him down instead. A series of straight punches. A quick counterattack with finger thrusts. The finger thrust is a technique used when there is a disparity in strength between you and your opponent. It allows you to strike the opponent in the shortest possible time. Continuous hammering punches in retaliation. A hook punch targeting the liver. A left hook to the cheek. Most people would be knocked out by the first punch, but IP Man was able to withstand 2, proving his resilience. A pushing kick to break the distance. 40 seconds had passed, and Tyson was a bit surprised. No one had ever lasted more than 30 seconds under his punches. Left jab. Rear hand power punch. Left hook. The force of the punches brushed past IP Man's hair, the intense pressure sending a shiver down his spine. A continuous barrage of straight punches. Palm block followed by a hammering punch. An elbow strike to the right ear. Arm trap with a side push. A hook punch to the abdomen. Two-character front stance. This punch struck IP Man so forcefully that it disturbed his Danshin energy center, and he dared not take a deep breath. After absorbing the blow, we saw IP Man make two movements. Crossing his hands to press the palms, then positioning his body to perform a double palm press. These two techniques are part of Wing Chun's long bridge. Wing Chun consists of both short and long bridges. As the saying goes in Wing Chun, the long bridge regulates energy and breath. The short bridge is for offense and defense. IP Man used the power from his shoulders, elbows, and wrists to control the energy, applying elbow force to regulate his breath and suppress the brutal punch from Tyson. This also demonstrates that Wing Chun is, in fact, an internal martial art. In reality, both external and internal martial arts involve energy cultivation. So, how do we differentiate them? External martial arts focus on cultivating middle energy, Zhong Qi, which strengthens the body and bones. Internal martial arts, on the other hand, focus on cultivating kidney energy, Shen Qi, which works within the meridians and is reflected in the strength of the internal organs. Traditional Wing Chun begins with practicing Wing Chun Qigong, specifically returning kidney energy to its origin in the first stage. A low stance with the front leg raised to maintain balance. This is commonly known as the IP Man squat. After 1 minute and 30 seconds of intense fighting, IP Man deeply felt that Tyson's upper attack was impregnable. He had no choice but to lower himself and brace against Tyson's middle and lower attacks, searching for an opportunity. The Zhang Lanshou block was used to defend. The Zhang Lanshou block again to defend. A intercepting kick. A sweeping kick. An inward sweep. Here, IP Man used one of Wing Chun's horse stances, the pressing horse, Bima, stepping forward with relentless pressure to create an opportunity for his own attack. A sun-shaped thrust punch. A crouching evasion. A downward palm strike to the ribs. Grabbing the leg with a counter kick. A charging punch, grabbing the arm and performing a neck throw. Using leverage to perform a counter throw. A series of sun-shaped thrust punches. A side evasion while maintaining the arm trap. A hook punch to the liver. This punch was another explosive hit. For IP Man to withstand so many of them is truly impressive. Tyson was also getting frustrated, surprised that his opponent could endure for so long. An elbow strike to the chin. An elbow block. IP Man used a series of rising elbows and blocking elbows to defend against Tyson's continuous combination attacks. A left jab. A right hook with an elbow challenge. A left hook to the abdomen. The only explanation for IP Man being able to withstand so many of Tyson's explosive hook punches is that his Qigong had reached a certain level of mastery. However, Judging by his expression, it was clear that he was barely holding on. Wing Chun's supporting kick. Wing Chun's pushing kick. A finger thrust. A lifting kick to the groin. An uppercut to the chin. The alarm rang, signaling the end of the 3-minute timer, and both men withdrew. The final moments of the fight left a sense of suspense and room for imagination. What would the next phase of the battle have been like if there hadn't been the 3-minute time limit? However, I believe this is not what the brothers regret most. The greatest regret for each of them is not being able to face Tyson in a fight.